you so much for joining me, Commissioner Jetson.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about this eviction resolution program.
Yeah, so why don't you walk us through what exactly that is?
Okay, well, the eviction resolution program in King County is a program designed, it's a pilot program for the time being, and it's designed to give folks, landlords and tenants both, who are having problems due to COVID and the effect on the economy regarding non-payment of rent, to give them an opportunity and a structure to come together in a mediation setting and try and resolve those issues so that, you know, when the moratorium lifts, everybody won't be coming into court and trying to commence eviction cases.
So can you talk about what that process looks like, who starts it, and kind of what the steps are?
Sure. At this point, there are two stages: the pre-moratorium lifting and after the moratoriums have lifted. Right now, it is a voluntary program, and it started by the landlord providing a notice, it's like a 10-day notice, to the tenant expressing interest in and essentially offering, inviting the tenant to join them in this process, and scheduling a mediation session. They're handled by the Dispute Resolution Center, King County, and there are staff attorneys available from the Housing Justice Project, volunteer attorneys. There is no cost to anyone for this process, and free interpreters are also available if needed. But there's a notice that goes out, and if the tenant doesn't respond to that, there's a second 10-day notice that will go out. That the DRC representative, they are all trained, call them eviction resolution specialists, they're all prepared to try and contact the tenant directly to encourage them to come and take part in the process. And again, the hope to resolve any outstanding non-payment of rent issues in a context that will allow people to sort of think outside the box a little more than going into court, and just with the rather limited remedies that are available in that kind of setting.
And part of this process and part of what this mediator can do is actually help the tenant find resources, correct, for paying this. So it's not just, oh, I'm going to have to eventually pay all this. There's programs and funding that these specialists can help people tap into, correct?
That's absolutely right. Yeah, they're the simpler aspect of it, theoretically, you know, to develop a payment plan to take care of any back rent that's owing. But there are rent voucher funds that are available. There are all kinds of other possibilities that options that are available that frankly would not necessarily be available as easily in a court setting. And so, yeah, the opportunity, I think, for both landlords and tenants here is significant, and it is designed really to help both sides. The whole program came together really as a group of sort of across the board. There were some judicial officers involved. I was one of them. There are landlord groups, tenant groups. So it really got the blessing of all of the involved parties.
You mentioned that this was a pilot program. Is there a cap on how many people can participate, or any, you know, like limits here as far as participating in the program if you're a landlord?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't know how many eviction resolution specialists that they are prepared to field, but I have not heard that there is some cap. The cap really is a monetary cap because the funding for the program came from the CARES Act, and that will terminate on December 31st. There are plans in the works, and I think it's happening right now, to seek additional funding, both federal, state, local level, to try and keep the program going. Just because, from the court's perspective, court is trying to avoid what you hear about, the quote-unquote eviction tsunami, and of course nobody wants people to be evicted.
So is this a program and process that can only be initiated by landlords, or if you're a tenant, can you apply and this process go the other way?
Certainly in the voluntary part of the program, I think either party can do that. The court's involvement in the mandatory part, once the moratorium has lifted, is that the court will require a landlord to have gone through the program or attempted to have gone through the program and have an actual certificate from the dispute resolution person to the eviction resolution specialist indicating that they have gone through the program before they are permitted to file any kind of eviction lawsuit.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time today. That was really informative. I'm going to put the link where people can learn more about this program in the comments. Are there any final closing thoughts that you want to leave us with?
Well, I think I would say that to either party, actually, a landlord or a tenant, but particularly tenants, because the program is sort of designed for the landlord to start the process. But if you're a tenant and if you receive a notice like that, I would just really strongly encourage people to take advantage of that opportunity. It's, as I said, it's designed to help both the landlords and the tenants in particular, though, and to the extent that we can deal with that now as opposed to waiting until the moratorium lifts and the amount of rent that would be due and owing has spiraled kind of out of control. Let's try and deal with it now, so the dispute will be resolved, hopefully.
Thank you so much for your time today, Commissioner.
Thank you, my pleasure, and thank you again for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, have a good day.